Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. The Johannesburg Motor Show put the focus back on the South African automotive industry this week, showcasing the best it has to offer. Senior Deputy Editor Irma Venter attended the show as part of a large media contingent and joins me in studio to give her impressions of the exhibition. Irma, welcome to Second Take.
Thanks, Mariaan.
First, tell us which new models impressed you most.
Well, there were quite a few interesting models on the show. I think probably most interesting was one of the New York Times top 20 models of last year, the Nissan Juke. It's a little crossover, so it's a small SUV. It's not going to appeal to everybody. It's got a little bit of a moon buggy look, but it was a very, very cute little vehicle from my perception. And it'll go for less than 200,000. Nissan is aiming it at the budget-conscious market, so it will priced on basically a B segment platform, but still for a SUV. So we're looking at below 200,000. Then we've also got the new Ford Ranger. It's a new big bucky. It's going to be built in Pretoria. I think production has already started, and it will be a very viable competitor against the Amarok and the Hilux. A big bulk brute bucky, typically I think what South African men and women would actually like. Then we also have General Motors. They introduced the Sonic. It will be launched in South Africa later this month. It's a B segment again, very competitive B segment we've got in South Africa. It's all the smaller entry-level vehicles. It's the fastest growing segment in South Africa. So this will be a new competitor. It will run next to the Aveo. So that should also heat up competition in that particular segment. And then we got the Toyota as well. It's going to be a big seller. I think it's the Etios. It is actually made in India. It is a Taz replacement. I think a lot of people have been waiting for this particular vehicle. It's very basic inside. You can see it's an entry-level vehicle, but it's got size. So I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people as well. So basically those models. And maybe we can talk a little bit about concept vehicles as well. There was actually the Mercedes-Benz Concept A-Class was there. It's a little bit more expensive when it will come to market eventually. A concept vehicle just gives an indication of what a vehicle will look like. But it does enter the very exciting compact vehicle future for Mercedes-Benz. So we're very excited about that as well.
There were a number of Chinese vehicles on show. Do you think that the quality of the vehicles from China improved since the last show in 2008?
I definitely think so for a large part, and for some manufacturers, not all of them. So let me qualify first. For example, you get into a new Chery vehicle, the J2 and the J3 will be launched next year. You get in the vehicle, the door makes like a reassuring thud rather than a clank, you know, which you used to get way at the beginning of Chinese vehicles. So look and feel and touch, it's quality plastics, quality leather. So the interior is actually quite an improvement. Mechanically, we'll have to see how sound it is next year when these vehicles actually enter the market as well. But you can also see from Chery's existing vehicles that the quality has actually gone up. So for some, that's why I say for some Chinese vehicle manufacturers, we can definitely see an improvement. Photon will launch the Tunland bucky. Also, I think it will be next year. It's a big brute also of a one-ton bucky. It's made, a lot of it was designed and made overseas, not in China. The engine, for example, is a Cummins diesel engine. So this will be a very competitive entry, I think, as well into the big one-ton market. And it also looks like good, solid quality. But then you had some Chinese manufacturers again on the show where you have to worry a little bit about the quality. But then you have to realize that, again, the strides that have been made by some manufacturers, that by the next Johannesburg Motor Show we'll have in 2014 perhaps, you will see a much big improvement. There's a steep learning curve, and the Chinese are definitely doing the best they can to improve their quality. We had an absence of the one big Chinese vehicle seller in South Africa, Great Wall Motors. They chose not to attend the Joburg Motor Show, not to exhibit at the show, because they said they didn't want to be placed in the same hall as the other Chinese manufacturers. They'd rather be pitted against the other big sellers in South Africa, the other OEMs like the Nissans and the Toyotas, rather than being lumped together in a hall with the other Chinese manufacturers. So we also had that interesting development at the show.
There was an interesting announcement about the first electric vehicle to come to South Africa. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, Nissan said they'll bring the Leaf, their famous Leaf vehicle, to South Africa in 2013, should government policy be in place. Now, we're all waiting for that policy. It's currently the subject of a bit of discussion within the Department of Trade and Industry before it has to go to Cabinet for approval. That policy will determine whether we get charging infrastructure, whether there's going to be a duty rebate or some kind of incentive for people to buy an electric vehicle, as we've seen elsewhere in the world. So it kind of all depends on this, and Nissan says if this is all in place by 2013, they can definitely bring the Leaf to South Africa.
Irma, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
That is the Second Take show for this week. Thank you for watching, and join us again next time for more news analysis.